We're just on 12, so I'd like to welcome everyone to today's success story interview with I Love Real Estate. My name is Michael, here in the Office of Knowledge Source, although it looks like I Love Real Estate. And today I've got another really fantastic and incredibly inspirational student who's done so much in such a short period of time and had so many obstacles to overcome, and yet has come out shining and totally changed her life in such a short period of time and is doing incredibly well. So I would like to introduce Christine. Christine, are you there and are you ready to chat?
Yes, I am, very much. Yep, I certainly am. Hi,
excellent.
Everyone.
Well, thank you. Excellent. So thank you so much for making the decision to share your story. And now you have been also previously on stage at the I Love Real Estate Super Conference in, that was 2019, I believe it was. Yes, excellent.
19? Yes, 19. Yeah, well, I'm confused. Time's gone so quick.
And with what's happened recently, it gets a little bit confusing, but that's okay. Yeah, awesome. So look, I just, I think for everyone to start off with, maybe it's a good idea. Could you give us a bit of an idea of where you're coming from when you first came into I Love Real Estate? Like, what was your life like and what was going on with you before you came in to join Dymphna's program in the community?
Yep, so life was a whole lot different a long time, that many years ago. I'd just come out of an abusive relationship with a partner over a 32-year period that was not physically but mentally abusive, so controlling in finances and friends and jobs. I wasn't allowed to get a job, but he abused my children, so that's something that was really not great. Anyway, we had settlement. A lot of my children were a bit broken mentally, and issues with all sorts of things going on in their lives, so not very confident children, or very unconfident. And I came out of this relationship, had settlement finally after a 3-year court battle that he took me to. Came out with a couple of properties. One was a commercial property, so that was my income. I kept that because I knew that was where some income would come from. Otherwise, I had no history of being able to get a job. Like, 30 years in of not getting a job, and I wouldn't even know how to write a resume, anything like that. I wasn't very confident. I was very, I was probably broken, I suppose, if you want to call it that. Didn't really know how to do anything, and knew that I liked real estate though, because we'd built properties. He was a plasterer, so we were able to, we did a few renovations and we built a couple of houses, or he did, and I helped design them, whatever. So I had an interest, and so I took a year off, and me and the kids went on couple of holidays and had a bit of a relax, because I just needed to work out what I was going to do. And then after that was like, right, now what? And had no idea. So I started looking at doing a property management course or something like that at uni. And on I Love Real Estate, on Facebook one day, I Love Real Estate came up with Dymphna saying, do you want to know about property? And this is what's going to happen in the market, and and all of her stuff that she spills on. So I listened to that, and then next thing you know, I was like, oh, let's register. So I registered into a one-day event, and that was in March 2018. So anyway, so that was how I got started. And
wow.
Changed from there.
So that's tough. Like you said, 37 years of marriage, and obviously
seven children.
And 7 children. So and then you just obviously you'd been looking after the family, but you hadn't been doing anything outside.
No, and we had a farm, so I was looking after the farm too. So I'd deliver calves and sheep and feed baby lambs and all those sorts of things too. So I was always hands-on. I was school president of a very 34 kids school. Mm-hmm. And I'd help them actually do a renovation. So they had government funding. And that's sort of part of where I found I really loved doing that sort of thing. And I was able to help them through 2 or 3 different principals because they kept losing principals, and helping them. So I was sort of the project manager on the school, and had a few arguments with the big architect who wanted to make this beautiful country school into some monstrosity with orange and bright blue. And I said, nope, it's got to stay the same colours. That little old schoolhouse with a cream and burgundy. So yeah, and I got my way. So that was a little bit of show of being a little bit forceful, but anyway, that was all good. Yeah. So.
Oh, nice to hear. So it sounds like Dymphna says that the best project managers are mothers who had kids. Would you like agree with that? Because it sounds like, and I know that a little bit more of your story is that you seem to kind of have slotted into that role very well because you had 7 kids.
Definitely.
So your ability to manage multiple things at multiple times is probably a skill that you didn't realize at the time, but now it has so much value.
I used to always think it's something that in all of the boot camps and everything we go to, I'd always write down one of my goals was to be more organised. And I found out that being organised, I am organised, but in a different way than anybody else would see it. I'm organised in chaos. So, and that's how I work best. So I've always worked in chaos because kids cause chaos, you know. And I used to say to my daughter, shit happens, mate. That's all there is to it. You know, things go wrong. This one falls over and spills it. Like, you just organise yourself around what happens. And in building, it sort of seems to be pretty much like kids. There's always something that goes wrong that you didn't plan on. So as long as you can work around it, it makes life so much better. So as long as if you start stressing about it, it's like everything stops. Whereas if you don't stress about it and you go, okay, well, how can we deal with this? So, and I've got a few of those going on right now.
Love the attitude, and I love that parallel too. Yeah, really cool. So so now that you've joined, you've obviously kind of gone, hey, I want to go down this path, and you've obviously taken a bit of time out as well, which would have been a nice kind of break and a nice kind of a bit of a refreshment of change of view. How did the things go? Like, what did you get into in the training? Like what really kind of were the things that you started to get into when you first got involved with the community?
First got involved was realising that finances are a big thing. So equity versus serviceability. Didn't understand that. Didn't even know what serviceability was originally. So, you know, that was pretty considerate. You needed to know that. So yeah, having a holiday house doing nothing, having properties that weren't making money, all of that sort of thing that are sitting there doing nothing. And I'm actually even more so about that now. I understand a whole lot more even than that I did then, and that's only this year. So I changed the holiday house into 2 Airbnbs, went down there multiple weekends, started cleaning it out, designing, working out how I could change it. And, you know, a builder once said to me, well, whatever you want to do, it can be done, just you've got to pay for it. And I said, okay, well, this is what I want to do. So we did it and changed it into 2 Airbnbs rather than just a big house. Mm-hmm. And big income. So good income, not too much hard work. Yes, I used to be a bit of a control freak and I wouldn't let anybody else clean it by me. Be backwards and forwards an hour and 10 minutes every time I had to clean it. And the kids were always saying, you know, why are you cleaning? You get a cleaner. And I'd be like, oh, because they won't do a good enough job. So I was very particular. I wanted to be a super host, which I did get in the first year, and then continue getting that. But then my son ended up moving into a little back unit that I've got down there, and they started cleaning for me. So I trusted him. He was actually really, really clean and did a great job. So that was great. So, but yeah, at the moment I'm doing the same thing, you know, money, serviceability is really big. And Candace, the lady I'm working with now, has taught me how to get serviceability for money that I had, houses and whatever properties that I owned without any debt. So getting equity out, loaning that out on good rates, and or putting them into deals, JV deals, all that sort of thing. So you're actually earning the income out of the property on the rent, and plus plus. So, you know, you might be paying 5%, but you're getting like an extra 15. Well, that's actually earns more than what the properties are earning in their rent. So yeah, that's changed a big thing. And so next thing you know, I've got serviceability, and then you can start doing more.
Yeah. So just, Christian, just to clarify, when you came into the program, so you had a couple of properties to start with, and you had a bit of money just there, but you had no idea of how to utilize that.
No, not at all. No, I didn't know.
What did you have to start with? Like what?
I had a factory that was earning about 50,000 a year. I had the holiday house that was earning nothing and costing me a fortune, and very old and run down. I had a rental two rentals, like a duplex in Croydon, and that was it.
Okay, good. So you've got a bit of property, but
yeah,
chances are it was probably all balancing out as neutral with the holiday house.
I had people in the other two houses that were really paying very, very low rent. One of them had been there like 15, 20 years. Well, she's still there. But she was on like $285 a week. And so she was not paying very much. And the other lady, I got her moved out because she didn't pay rent for like 3 months, and I was managing it myself. Bad mistake. And then my daughter ended up moving in, who was paying even less. So so I wasn't making much. I was paying money all the time to have those things happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't understand that at the start.
Got it. So that's where you're coming from. Okay, cool. So the first thing, Airbnb. Changed the last house into 2, and that increased your cash flow by
at least 30,000 that first year. And now it's making probably around 40.
Awesome. And then what was the other one? Because you had, so that was the factory. What happened to that?
That's tenanted, so that just stayed tenanted until COVID hit. So that's another story.
Okay.
And the other two, well, my daughter moved into one, so I still wasn't earning, but I did increase the rent from the other lady.
Okay.
So brought it back up to, not quite, because she was such a good tenant, I didn't charge her too much. So I think she was paying about $330 or something like that. So it's still added a little bit. So I was breaking even on those, but I didn't have a against them, so I had equity in them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then what happened deal wise? So you've done the
deal wise before I started the renovations on the Rosebud, the holiday house. I bought a house because I had some cash, bought a house for my daughter who was living in the Rosebud house. I needed her to get out of there so I could do the renovations. So I bought her a house as a joint venture with her on a property that was going to be a 1:2, so a corner block. And used her first homeowners grant, so we didn't pay much stamp duty. And she's paying only 1.5% interest. Not much. And but her partner was a bit of a builder, so he was doing the renovations, and I was paying for all the renovation costs because they had no money, but they just had a baby. So I was helping her out, which was my goal, is to help my children out to get houses. So anyway, after buying that, I then bought a commercial in my self-managed super, set my self-managed super up, bought a commercial in that, and that was earning about 9% net yield in my super, which was nice. I'd been to a finance advisor. He sort of was going to get me into an apartment, and I turned around and I said, no, I'm buying my own property. And so so that's what I did, and that was all good. And
I love the fact that here you are, you don't know anything about finances initially. You go to a financial advisor and you say, oh, you're going to do this, and you say, no, I'm not going to do this.
Dymphna had said, don't buy apartments and don't buy them off the plan, and that's what he was wanting me to do. And I was like, I'm listening to Dymphna. She knows what she's talking about.
But I know, I'm just saying, I love the turnaround, Here you are, and it's like suddenly getting on a Dymphna. Yes, I'm going to do what she does. So awesome.
Yeah. So, just you're going to go and join somebody and learn all that stuff. You're going to do what they say.
Absolutely. Yep.
And yes, so then I bought a house for my daughter in Seaford, which was going to be a 1 into 3. And I was hoping to put 2 on the back, but won't fit. So I'm knocking down the front house and just putting 3 on it. And it was one of those was going to be for that other single mum, so my daughter's a single mum, and she was going to buy it at cost price, and then I'd still make money on the deal anyway. So I was like, yep, that's fine. That's number 2 child having a house, which was all good, but that has not quite happened yet. She's still renting the house off me. We sort of pivoted. I was renovating my PPR too, which was another thing that I wanted to do for Dymphna. So we renovated a PPR, and that's where things changed massively, because all of a sudden I couldn't buy another PPR and do the development I was going to do. So I changed my mind and decided to take a bit of my own advice, which I was advising somebody else to do, go and rent. And I got myself a reasonably nice rental in Sandhurst. And then I was able to do the subdivision at Croydon. So the one that I had, the 1 into 2, one of the houses was really old and shitty. So my daughter had moved into the Seaford house. So the lady that was a 20-year tenant moved into the back one where my daughter was. And I removed the old house, put it at Tarwin Lower, so a long way away. My sons got them involved and made them do the renovations on it and whatever. And as soon as that was clear, the block was clear, then I started a development on that property and did put 2 on there. So that had 2 new big 2-story townhouses. So I got them done. The other one got finished, and we rented it for a little bit of time because of COVID, sold it at the end of last year, and still made about 40,000 to 60,000 on it. But if I'd kept it until like halfway through this year, I would have made about 80 or 100. But
yeah, cool.
You know, needed the money, so that was all it did. You do it when you need the money and go and do something else.
Okay, now I just have a question here, and that is for those of you listening, is anyone having trouble keeping up with the deals that Christine's doing and how much she's got on her plate at one time, and then being able to go through them and then obviously get them to occur? Are you also having that difficulty in keeping track? Because you said about being obviously organised in chaos and that kind of scenario, and it's like you've got so much on the go, and yet you know exactly what's going on in these different areas. So it's certainly a credit to you, and I can understand how, you know, what you were saying about, you know, looking after, you know, 7 kids now, and it's like, yeah, it's rolled over now into project management. So quite amazing.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
Yep. So just to clarify, and I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around. So you've got the commercial deal in super, you've got the house for the daughter, which is a 1 into a 3. The PPR that then you moved out of, is that the one where you did the subdivision, or is that another one?
That's another one.
Oh, that's another one. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then the other one that I've got the subdivision for my other daughter with a baby. With a car.
Okay,
so
all right.
There's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, anyway, whatever.
Okay, there's a lot of deals going on here, isn't there?
A lot of deals. There's a lot of things going on, and the Seaford one with my daughter, the 1 into 3, that sort of had to sit and be hot. It's just sitting. So it was just sitting, and I sort of started working on some plans, but I was just sort of going, okay, well, that's got to sit in the corner for a minute. It's not making me money. It's not losing money. It's just even. So I didn't charge my daughter any more than that. I was like, okay, it's got $650,000 in it. Oh, well, we'll just, we can't do anything. So, well, this is how I thought at that time anyway. So I've changed my ideas now that I'm with my new business partner.
Yep, okay, yep.
He's sitting with me. I'm at work at the moment. So after finishing the triplex in Croydon, so the one that I had a house on the back, and I removed the house at the front, so rented both of those because it was during COVID. So they were finished being built in September or June in last year. So what's that, 2020? So they were finished through COVID. They took 7 months. I had the best builder you could ever possibly imagine. And he's doing work for other people through Platinum that I know. So they're all like, oh my God, he's amazing. So yes, he is.
Now, just sorry, I don't want to cut in, but just on that point, you were talking about Platinum, but we haven't covered that yet.
Oh, yes.
And there was a specific deal that you got help with on that. So I suppose before we kind of continue,
okay,
yeah, because
we go further, yeah.
What's the deal when you kind of came along to Platinum? Because obviously that played a major role in this as well.
Yeah, look, Platinum came about because I bought the one for my daughter on the corner block, the 1 into 3, the one in the super, and I went, oh my God, I got lost, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to move forward or what to do next, and you know which one to take on, if you know what I mean, and start going. So I was at a conference, I think the super conference at the end of that year, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I can't afford that. Is that really going to be that great for me? And then the next March I was like, you know what, if I don't do that, I'm in all sorts of shit. So I signed up with Platinum, and didn't look back. So I was relocating that house off the 1 into 3 in Croydon, and he was like, gave me the best details about how to do it, and gave me the best advice. But in the meantime, I was wanting to buy all these other PPRs. This is when this all came about. So I was going to buy PPRs, and I signed on a contract, and he said, can you do that? And I went, well, yeah. And he goes, can you get the loan? And I go, well, I don't know. And you know, he was sort of being Jiminy Cricket on my shoulder going, I think you're going to put yourself in too much pressure. And I went, oh, really? Anyway, I got emotionally involved, and I reneged on the deal. There was too many things actually wrong with the house. So I reneged on it and said, no, it's not okay. And they made a mistake in the contract anyway. So I was able to get out of that. And then I'd signed on another one, and the same thing. And I reneged on the finance clause, couldn't get the finance. And he said, then that was when I realised I needed to rent. He got me to that point, but they don't tell you that in Platinum. Your coaches don't tell you what you have to do. You actually have to work it out. They just give you all the skills to learn how to do that. And and so once I rented and I had that freed up capital, you know, equity, I was able to go and move forward and do lots of things. And that's how I've got to where I am now. So, you know, I did that deal and built those houses, and through COVID, they were tenanted, and I sold one of them on June 29th. I needed to sell it in June 20, that financial year, because it had a lot of capital gains. And that year I had lost all of my income through COVID with my factory and my Airbnb. So I was willing to drop the price I didn't drop the price, still got more than I was expecting, but to sell that on the 29th and have that contract signed on the 29th of June. So the capital gains will come into that year. So hang on, I'm going to have to put my charger in.
Oh, okay. All right. So.
Okay, got it.
You all good?
All good. Yep. You'll lose me otherwise.
Oh, no. We don't want to lose you. No. Okay. So just checking here. So this is what's happened because up until this point, and obviously you spoke on stage in 2019, and now you're talking about what's happening after that during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
okay. Cool.
In COVID, the first year, like as soon as COVID hit, basically the Airbnb, you know, I got multiple messages. It was all booked up, and then bang, no bookings. Everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had the factory was coming up for they were going to sign on the lease, and they'd agreed to it on the February.
Yep.
And by end of March, they changed their mind and said, no, we're moving out. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I had a month before they moved out to try and find a tenant, which was not going to happen in COVID. And so that was untenanted for 11 months.
Wow.
And so Airbnb sort of plodded along. I did change my tactic, and I rented out for longer periods of time. So reduced the price, got some longer term people in there for a month here and a month there. So that sort of kept tickling along, which was good. Yep. Still on about 25 out of that. So it's not a bad income. But the factory, yeah, lost 50, at that time it was getting 55,000. So I lost $55,000 worth of income. That's it, bang. And I had to pay all the extras, like all the outgoings, which was another 10.
Wow.
So, you know, there was my house deposit, my 10% house deposit I'd saved up. So I decided to sell one of the Croydon houses. That's when I decided to sell that and get some money out again. So kept 2, sold 1, and they're both still positive by quite a bit. So that's all good. And then that's when I met last year when I decided I needed to do something different and get more income, because I thought I'd diversified, you know, Airbnb, commercial, residential. Thought, oh yeah, I've done really well. I'm doing all the right things, but still not. So I thought, okay, I need to do a job or something. So I did my real estate agent's representatives course to get a job as a buyer's agent, and I knew somebody that would take me on. Early this year, I rang her, and yep, she was happy to come on. And I had a friend in Platinum that wanted me to be his buyer's agent. So I decided that, yep, okay, beautiful. So she put me on, but on the same day that I got that, I rang this other girl about getting a new cleaner for Airbnb, and that I knew from ILRE Real Estate, that Mickey T had put us in connection with. And she's like, oh, I've been thinking about you. I need you to come and work with me. And I was like, oh, doing what? So she does property developments and management. I did get a new cleaner, which was great. But she has changed my life again, because it's opened my eyes to do other stuff as well. So, which is all stuff that she knows that I knew because I'd learnt it all, and from doing everything I've done. So if I hadn't have done ILRE Real Estate, I would never have got this job. Well, it's not a job. I've got my own consultancy business now. So I'm a consultant and her property coordinator. So now she's an amazing woman that joined ILRE Real Estate and started doing all of this stuff and building her own business. And I came into it because she was wanted to get into this big deal, which was 3 houses side by side in Brighton, 18 apartments, high end. And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to do apartments. And so I was like, yep, okay, well, let's go for it. So I had a look at her IM and her feasibilities, and it's a great deal. So I was like, okay, but I only have this much money that's already committed to that. And she goes, but don't you have properties without any debt? And I went, yeah. And she goes, I've got somebody that can help you get some of that out. And I went, so she explained to me how that I can get equity out, as long as, so a lease doc loan or a low doc loan, and that you don't need serviceability, because I still didn't have great serviceability. Too many kids renting too many of my houses. And she's, so anyway, so we've ended up getting money out of the factory and out of the Airbnb, and I've invested that, and I'm paying about 4 to 5%, and I'm getting over 20% back. So all of a sudden, I've got really good income. So I'm getting, you know, at the end of the year, and this is longer term projects, I'm earning more than what I would have out of the rent of the property. So it's huge. So we've got that one. She already had 3 on the go, so I'm now project managing with her on those ones. We're just about to get 3 demolished within the end of the year. So 3 properties all demolished, and building permits are all ready to go, and we'll start building. So I've had to get my white card because I'm going to be going out on site seeing the builders, and got the hard hat and all the rest of it. So all good. And then we've got another JV landowner deal, and we've got another one that me and her are JVing together as well. And the big one that we're doing, which is 18 apartments. So we've got 8, I think, on the go at the moment. Plus, I've just been given the phone call this morning before this interview that my Seaford property is going to go to advertising for the 3 properties in Seaford. So council's done that really, really quickly, and I should be able to start that early next year too. Yay! So that one will be done, and I've already got somebody that might buy one of the townhouses. So my daughter will buy one, somebody else is going to buy one, and I'll keep the other one. So it's sort of, everything's sort of really panning out, and life is fantastic. So
okay, so now Christine, just right now, as a snapshot, like right now, how many deals have you got? Like if you have a look at what you've got right now, you've still got the commercial deal, you've still got the Airbnbs.
Yep. And the one up in Queensland, so I've got the other commercial in Queensland still.
Okay, when you say the other, is that a second commercial?
Yes.
That's the one in Super.
Yep. That's in Super.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yep. I've got the 2 rentals in Croydon.
Yep. Okay. Still got those ones. Yep.
Yep. The daughters that I'm doing on the corner block. So the one I'm building at the back. So that's 2 there.
Yep.
The triplex that I'm going to be doing. That's just gone through council. And then with Candace, we've got, well, she's got 3 that were hers before I came in, which were with a JV partner, but I'm project managing with her. And then we've got another 5.
Okay. All right. So you got a little bit on.
Just a little bit. And we're looking for another one. We want to do a reno flip. So most of ours are all renos or, duplex, triplex, whatever they are, and apartments, which are huge. And they take a long time. So you've got to wait for council with those. So we're wanting to do, and we've got enough money that we can get together to do a reno flip. We've got a couple of equity partners that want to do things like this. So they want to give us money to get them a deal and teach them how to do it, sort of, and do another deal. So there's a couple in Brighton that we're, that sort of area, high end. So you buy them at a higher end price, but then when you reno them, they make bigger money, of course. So
yeah.
And they should be done in 6 months. So we're sort of thinking we could do 1 or 2 of those in between while we're doing the rest of the stuff.
Got it. Okay. So, and from your deals at the moment, you're getting cash flow on there, but you're also getting a 20% return on your funds as well.
Yes. So I'm getting the 5%. So I'm getting what I'm paying in. So it's not costing me anything at the moment.
Yep.
So the loans I've got, I'm getting that back, and then at the end of each financial year, I'll get the extra 15%. Or if it's gone into a deal, which there's one of those, then when the deal finishes, obviously we'll just get a percentage split.
Got it. And out of interest, how much is that at the moment? Like how much, you've obviously covering your wage, and you've got obviously enough passive income to live off.
The passive income, once I add the passive income from the deals that we're doing together, instead of being at about $100,000 passive income, 120,000, I think I'm up to about myself. It'll be more like 220,000 or more a year.
So you'll double your passive income from about 120 up to 220 around that.
Yep, by joining with partnerships. Yep.
Got it. And
I was always a loner, but now I'm like, no. If you can get somebody that's as good as my partner, then you're all good.
Awesome. Now, look, on that point as well, there was one of the questions that we've got here is about, and we were discussing earlier about what's a problem or an issue that you had to address. And one of the earlier ones, when you first started out, you'd never really done any kind of public speaking before. You'd kind of and there was a point in time where you had to speak at Platinum. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So first day in Platinum, go to the first meeting in Platinum in Melbourne, and I walk in, didn't know a soul, so didn't know anybody, and I walk in. It was very out of my comfort zone because I was too scared. I'd never been anywhere much by myself. So I walked in and I was late, as I always am, and everybody that gets to know me, they all know me now. I'm always late. Walk in and they're all getting up individually telling their story or where they're at that point in time. And I'm looking and I'm going, what? I can't get up in front of everyone. I've got nothing to say. What am I going to say? So I was the last person that he came to. So I was sitting there panicking the whole time thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? And so I thought, oh, I'll just talk about Rosebud, the Airbnb, because I was doing that at the time. So I got up and spoke about that, and that, I'd bought a house for my daughter, and we're going to do what we were going to do with it, and that sort of thing. So I sort of got up and spoke about that, and then I bought this, commercial deal up in Queensland, and all of a sudden things started rolling off the top of my tongue, and sweating, really hot, and going, oh my God. Anyway, so I sat back down there, everybody claps, and I'm like, oh, thank God that's over. And then we get up for our little coffee break, and everybody comes over to me and goes, oh, you're doing so much stuff. What have you done? Oh, I want to hear about the Airbnb. And next thing you know, people are asking me questions, and I was like, why is anyone asking me questions? Because I don't know anything, thinking that I didn't know anything. But in reality, I'd learned enough that I obviously did at the time. It didn't feel like that. So that was a huge hurdle. So, but now me and another guy, we're both the talkers in the platinum group. We always have been, and we have a platinum group that he started up for past platinums and new platinums, and that we all get together. And when we go, he's also started up a group for ILRE Real Estate, so just for ultimates, and anybody over in, I think, Airport West. And every time I've been over there, everybody comes up and asks me questions. So, I'm more than happy to help people. And they all come up and they say, oh my God, you've got so much information. It's taken me a while to realise that I actually do. I've actually learnt so much. So a lot of it has been, the basic stuff is all through ILRE Real Estate, but then it's all by doing as well. You have to do. If you don't do, then you don't get the confidence to actually know that you're actually doing something wrong or right. And there's been plenty of wrongs, plenty of things going wrong that, I don't get extra quotes off people because I'm too scared, and I'm like too scared to, my self-assurance of myself has held me back a lot, because I would go, oh, I'll just get a price off them and that'll do, and not checking prices. I'm still learning. And and you deal with somebody and if things don't work out right, you think you know them and they're really fun, nice people, and then you work with them and you're like, that was not probably the best decision to make. And so, yeah, you learn a lot of things as you're doing things. That's the best way of doing it.
Yeah, I just love how you at the moment you're going, oh yeah, I'm scared to do this, I'm scared to do that, and I tell you, none of that comes across. You know what I mean?
I'm not so scared anymore. But,
no, you're not. Yeah.
I used to be so scared of asking people for anything, and now no. People pull things out, try to pull things over and I'm like, no, mate, that's not the way it goes. Like, I know now, and I'm very much more confident in myself, and I'll pull people up on everything now. So it's a lot. I'm different. That's what I mean. Completely. This is how I was, and now I'm, and look, I used to be a really bubbly person when I was young, so I've sort of found that person back again. But I've found even more confidence, and huge difference. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, and now you also had another kind of thing during COVID when you didn't have a lot of income coming in, and you had to make some tough decisions and some tough choices. Do you want to share that one?
Okay, so when COVID hit and I lost all my income, and I was renting at $650 a week, so it's a pretty expensive place. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see all this money that I've saved just go down the drain. So I'm usually the one who helps my kids out with everything. Financially, they're always coming to me for money. And all of a sudden, I had to ask them to help pay rent, because I had 3 boys still living with me and 3 kids renting off me. So I had to ask them all to, number one, you need to have that rent coming in every week. If you don't, I'm in trouble. Number 2, increased a couple of them. And number 3, had to ask my boys, who were all adults and earning income, to pay board. which nearly killed me because I hate asking for anything off my children. And they were like, yeah, Mum, of course we will. How much do you want? And I went, oh, you maybe 50. And they go, oh, well, yeah, we'll give you 75. We'll help out with some groceries. And they were more than happy to help me. But I felt it was a really hard thing for me to do, to ask for help, because I hadn't had to do that before. I was always the one who was going to help everybody else. And that was a big of a real step back. And that's when I sort of started also thinking, well, there's got to be another way. I've got to do something else. So that's why I did my real estate agent's license and did the other deal that I was, right, get this done, get some income out of that, and things sort of just softened. And so changed my mindset. And it's amazing how things just come to you when you. My daughter gave me a manifestation of wealth, little thing of oil, and I used to put that on my forehead, to go, okay, on the wrists, we're gonna get money back again. So, and everything's turned out really well now. So, big difference.
Fantastic. Did you want to mention a little bit about, because you've now changed quite a bit of an attitude in regards to how you approach different people, and especially with doing deals. Do you want to just share a little bit about how you approach a JV? Now, I know you've done them with your kids, and I know that that's probably a different relationship. Do you want to give like your point of view of how you would approach a JV like now, just from your point of view?
Well, look, it's funny because I helped somebody out. I gave somebody some money a while back. Like I loaned them some money to do a joint venture, and he only needed 60,000, but I didn't do any due diligence whatsoever. And it was supposed to be for 6 months, and it ended up being for 12 months because he couldn't pay me back. I ended up telling him what to do to get out of that situation. And I held his hand and said, right, this is what you need to do. You need to go to the bank, you need to do this, you need to rent it, yada, 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 and make it into a positive for him. And then he was able to get a bank loan and pay me out. But that I didn't do any due diligence. So really bad mistake. I didn't check him out, didn't check anything out. Just don't do that. Just don't. As far as doing JVs, otherwise though, I'm still probably not the best at learning everything about people and getting deals all set up. So you're probably not going to think this is great. Like, Candice needed the money. We needed it there and then, right there and then. No JV agreement. And I was like, I'm all in. And I put money in because we needed to settle, have the deposits paid. So we've got a loan agreement now. It's all done. But I have a second instinct sometimes with what's going on and because I'm going to help deal with the property, there's ways out. We've got two exit strategies and or three. So you've always got to have an exit strategy of how to get out of things. Have the legal documents in place, which, I'm not great for saying that because I didn't do that at the time, but I think you've got to know the person and you've got to know their integrity, so you've got to really, like, she's a lady with three young kids. She's got a partner who works really hard. She's just opened up this beautiful shop. She's got an IM out. She had everything done. As far as paperwork goes, she's the king of paperwork. As far as I go, I'm the junior. I'm not very great at paperwork. If somebody can do it for me, yeah, okay, I'll do that for me. So I'm still not good at that stuff. But I'm learning. She's taught me how to use 2 screens on a computer. She's taught me how to do zero invoicing. She's taught me. So it's a give and take. And sometimes I feel like, I've gone in with the equity and the money, but she's giving me so much more. So whoever you JV with, they've got to enhance you. You can't just turn around and dump your money with somebody and then just sit back and let it just play out, because you need to have your ear on the ground. You've got to know what's going on. You've got to know that person. And I think that's a really big thing. So JVs are great, but you can get really bad JVs too.
Yeah. I love what you said about it. You've got to know the person.
Mm.
You know, you got to know the person. You got to know where they're at from an integrity point of view. Yeah. So yeah, real key point.
Yeah.
So just you mentioned before and asked a question about from a cash flow point of view. What's happened to your equity since you started to now? Like obviously it's gone up, but how has that changed since you've been involved with ILRE Real Estate?
It's sort of it's a flowing object. It's really hard to tell. So this is where I had trouble even when I did that super conference and I was up on stage, and to put it all out on paper and everything. I do often write things down and I add it all up and I work it out. And then I go, okay, well, I started here and now I'm here. That's okay. But, you know, money's going out all the time and then you've got money coming back in. It's a real moving target. So if you're always trying to think of, oh, I haven't got that much yet, but you've got money in things that are going to be that sort of price. Like, you know, I probably not as much as I should because I've been helping all the kids out. You know, like I probably made 500,000 in equity over those years. As far as serviceability, up until this year, I hadn't made really, you know, just because things went up a little bit, but probably no more than what I was. So I was maybe earning 80,000. And then you take off all last year, you know, you take off all the expenses and every depreciation, which is really cool. And I only at like 56,000. So on paper, mine looked horrible. So no wonder I couldn't buy anything. I couldn't get to most of the loan brokers just sit there and go, yeah, I'm sorry. But you need to be willing to spend a little bit of extra money to be able to get different sorts of loans, and realize that the realization of what you can actually earn on the equity that you have without having that serviceability then changes the like that ballpark, you know, because all of a sudden you are earning this much, which is nothing, and then by taking that equity out and paying a higher rate of interest, you'll then increase your equity by so much money. And then all of a sudden a lot of loan brokers don't like that sort of thing because they go, oh, the banks don't look at that sort of income. But then once you've got that money come into you and you've got a business like a consultancy trust, that's why that comes into it. When that money comes paid in, then it's different. They class it as a different income. So it's a business income rather than investment income.
Yeah.
So,
and that's all. That's all with a consultancy trust that you got set up as well. With
consultancy trust makes a big difference. So I also sell floorboards.
Yep.
And I do some people's kitchen design, like I'll, you know, just the cheap ones for people who are doing cheap renos. And I've done the planning, you know, just do the plans, draw up the plans. Are simple because they're basically, you know, like IKEA's or whatever. You just do it all up, send it in, order it, get it all organised for them to go out and get it sent out to them, and then it gets sent out to them, and you just chuck on 10% on top, and you've just done on the computer for not even an hour, and you've earned some money. But it's the matter that money's going through your consultancy trust. So anything you can get to go through there makes it look good. So even my sons who have bought houses, so my son that just bought a house, I organised his kitchen and all of his flooring, and you know, really didn't make a profit, but I said, you know, look, just pay me an extra couple of hundred and on the invoice, and I'll chuck it back to you. So it looks like, so your business is always looking like it's turning over and doing other things, because it can't be just coming from one source of income.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what I've found out. And so I've got new accountants now as well. I've also finally, after 4 years of saying I'm going to do my will, done my will. We're about to sign it, so I'm like, yay! And got some life insurance. So I got life insurance because I got equity out of my properties, and I wanted to cover those debts, so that the loan that I've given out to my business partner won't have to be called in if something ever happened to me. So you've sort of got to start covering other bases that you hadn't thought of before. You know, I always thought, oh, no point having life insurance, I've got properties. But now I've got equity out and loans, then I want those loans to be paid out rather than having to sell anything.
Yeah, got it.
So,
Got it. Okay, cool. Now, Peter's asked a question about, you mentioned despite having good equity, there was no serviceability. Can you explain the process of extracting the equity in order to do a deal? That was just a good broker? Was that right?
A good broker, a broker that's going to think outside the box. So you need to think outside the box and go low doc or a lease doc. So if you've got a factory or a commercial property, you can get a lease doc loan, which goes on the income that that property is earning. So they'll give you a lease doc loan on how much income that's producing, and but it's at a higher rate. So I think that was at 5.39%. But I got $450,000 out, which I was able to get. You work it out and you get an extra 15% on top of that. Work out the figures and it works out really well. So yeah.
Awesome.
And then a low doc loan is also not classed on your income. So it's still, again, higher. They're from second tier lenders, so they're not from the banks. So one's from, I've done Pepper Money, and the other one is Latrobe, which, just got to be careful of the lenders, in any lender, their solicitors are bloody useless. So they take ages to get the shit done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I think that answers the second question about, because that first one with a lease doc, that was commercial, and the other ones were residential.
Yeah.
With a low doc. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
all right. That's for you, Peter. Yeah, cool. Christine, how is your life different now?
How isn't it different? It's completely different. I'm not the same person I was then. I come into an office to go to work, which I thought I would never, ever do in my life. People used to say, oh, don't you, when you've got 7 kids, don't you ever want your own life? What do I want my own life? My kids are my life. No. Yep, I understand that now. I was very reserved and didn't have really anything else in my life besides my children and a couple of close friends. That was it. Always afraid to go and do things by myself. Now I'm not afraid to go and do anything by myself. So, I'm confident. I know I can make money and I know I can help people. So they're sort of all go hand in hand. So if you can't make money and can't get ahead in life, then you can't help other people. So that's a really big learning curve. So I just wanted to always help everybody. But money is key. If you've got money, the amount of people you can help is tenfold. Eventually I'll start up housing for abused women and single parents. And, I now feel like, I used to think, oh God, I'm never going to be able to do that because I don't know how to make the money or do that sort of thing. But now I think with the contacts I've got and all the support that I've got around me, that's going to be an easy task. So still want to go children first. So definitely children first, but I've got now 3 into houses because I've gone guarantor or given 10% deposit. So if my kids can get 10% deposit, I will give them the other 10% as a loan to get into a house, as long as it's a deal. It's got to be a deal. They can't just go and buy off the plan or an apartment. They've got to buy a deal. So that's my thing.
The deal is a deal.
A deal is a deal. That's all there is to it. They've got to make money out of it, and one of them's about to pay me my 10% back. So it's his house has gone up by 200,000 from December last year. So
awesome.
And he's about to subdivide as well. So then he's going to make about 300,000 at 23 years of age. So,
awesome.
And he's the one who started I Love Real Estate with me. I dragged him along to every conference, and if I said to me the other day, for the first time, he put his arm around me, he says, Mum, he said, the best thing you ever did is take me to those conferences, drag me to those conferences. He goes, I wouldn't have been able to do this if I didn't know all of that stuff. So, and it's rubbed off on his 25-year-old brother who's just bought a house too and doing a subdivision and renovation again. And then my daughter will have, she's going to buy one of the 3 and she'll have equity in her home. And as a single mum, she'll be able to go, she's going to go and use that equity to go and do something else with it. So they all have this plan of making passive income out of their properties, or otherwise starting a business. And she's going to start a business as well. So she's going to be a very entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All sorts of things. Yeah, so it's great.
Awesome. And how do you feel personality-wise?
Oh, confident, bubbly, and talkative, but still running late. And still working in chaos. As Candice will agree with me.
Yeah.
But yes, so every week we have, every 2 weeks we have a platinum meeting with the past and present platinums.
Yep.
And every week, well, besides maybe 2, I've been on time and they've all gone, what? Christine's here. Otherwise, yeah, they go, oh, hi, Chris, wonder when you'd pop in. So yeah, I'm always, but that's just, I wear it. I'm like, that's who I am. I always trying to get more done than what I should be trying to get done, but that's the way I am.
Yeah.
So if you wear who you are, I think that's a big thing. It's a big confidence thing too, because I used to be really embarrassed about it. Now I'm just like, is it going to make any difference to it? It only makes difference to me that I'm missing out on what I might have wanted to listen to. So, if it's important, I'll be there. But if it's just a catch up or whatever, it's no big deal. It's just you pop in and say hi, and it's all good. And Michael even knows that I used to be late to those conferences because I was always too busy chatting to people outside, weren't I, Michael?
Come on, you guys, get back in. Get back in.
Exactly. Every single time, I'd be like,
I know.
I'm just talking.
No, but there would be people around you as well, picking your brains and so forth.
There's always people around me, and everybody wants to keep asking questions. So I was like, well, I want to give people answers. From
someone who was just like shy and no public speaking, it's a huge turnaround. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Huge turnaround.
Now, Derek was asking a question. Commercial deal in Queensland with 9% return. Did you source that yourself, or do you use a buyer's agent? That was, I think, the one through SMSF.
I sourced it myself. I did join James Dawson at the time. He's no longer, I don't know if he's still got a course, but I still get emails from him. He's a commercial guy, so I got all of his information. It was just a couple of things that he'd said that I said I needed to look at, but the deal, I made a really big mistake on that deal. So I went into it. I thought I did all my due diligence, which you can only do so much. But because I had a signed lease and he was supposed to pay this much and everything, it was all good. So for 11 months, it was great. And he, though, got injured and he didn't own anything in his own name and he went broke. And I didn't know it because I was managing it myself instead of getting a manager. And the other thing I didn't do is I didn't get a insurance for a landlord to get income, the rent paid, because I thought it's a lease, I didn't realise it was the same. Anyway, didn't do it, bad mistake. He left, he tried to sell it and he just was being too picky with the people who was going to come and take over. And he left high and dry. And the girl that was going to buy it worked for him. She had my phone number. So she gave me a call and she said, oh, did you know he's left? And I went, no. And I looked in my bank account, 2 weeks, no rent. And so I ended up having to fly up. He left the place in a big mess. There was stuff everywhere and I had to go in and renovate then, and it cost me a lot of money. And the permit was a residential house, but it had a permit, but there was a little clause on it that was supposed to be a day spa on the end. So I had to go through planning up in Gympie to change that to be just a commercial one. And that took 6 months because commercial Gympie Council is a pain in the neck. So I couldn't get anybody else back in it. And then we had the bushfires and then we had COVID and I didn't get a tenant for 18 months. So it sat there empty. Didn't owe money, thank God for that. Didn't have an agent, so I didn't have to pay for anything much, and the outgoings were not very expensive. So what turned out was a really good deal turned out to be a really shitty deal. Got agents involved, of course, and got it on the market and all the rest of it. And finally, but there's only really one commercial agent up there, which was really hard to deal with. They finally tenanted it out at the end of last year for 30,000, so still making 6% or 6.2%, I think.
Yep.
And he was going to buy it at the end of this year. Well, he wanted to buy it with only $1,000 down and no deposit other than that. And I had lovely Calvin, who was my solicitor up there, said, nope, that's not a good thing, you're not covered. So I went back and said, no, I don't want to sign that. He needs to say he's going to pay it within the 2 months prior, the 20% or 10%, and he then wouldn't sign. So we left it as it was and it didn't get signed, and he didn't want to buy it now anyway, so he would have jumped out. So I've got the market's gone mental up there, so it's actually on the market and we're sort of looking. He's going to rent it out month to month anyway, so it's all good, and it's still money in the end. But the market's gone crazy, so even if I sold it as a residential property now, I'd still get about 100,000 profit.
Awesome.
So it's turned out to be okay. I've just held on, but that used to give me sleepless nights.
Yeah, sure.
And I used to keep thinking, I did cold calls to all of the medical places and to like massage places, physios, chiropractors, everybody in the area, you know, oh, do you want a new rental place? You know, it'd be great for this, it'd be great for that, trying to get somebody to rent it. And no, like just, I did everything. I ended up getting a clearing done it. And it wasn't actually that long after the clearing that I got done and connecting myself a bit more with the house that we actually got a tenant. So whether that was just timing or whether that had anything to do with it, I don't know. I sort of just was like at wit's end going, there has to be something else I can do. So we went down that path. It didn't cost much, only $300. So for $300 in 2 months or 3 months later, I've got somebody signed up. I was like, well, you know, it wasn't the end of the world after what I'd spent.
Yeah.
So the council made me do landscaping, which was ridiculous, and that cost me $4,000. So yeah.
Okay. And just to let everyone know as well, when it comes to clearing that you're talking about, if you want to know more about that in the Real Estate Millionaire Within, Dymphna talks about that, how you can clear energies from a property, and she goes and describes that if you're wondering. So, okay, Christine, look, we're kind of just a little bit over time, but the last thing I wanted to know was, what do you tell others now about Dymphna and the I Love Real Estate? What would you say? Like, if someone was brand new.
I feel like I need to start getting commission from Dymphna for all the people that I recommend to go to. I was thinking about that the other day. Everyone I meet. Is
that your kids though? Are your kids coming along now too?
Well, they're not just yet, but they will be. Mark's moved them to Queensland, so he will hopefully start next year. But no, I have everyone I talk to, you know, and if I can talk anyone's ear off about property, that's just all I tend to talk to. My kids were sick to death of it after a while, and I was like, oh God. So I talk to other people. Anyone who's willing to listen or has any interest, I will talk freely about property. And I always then am like, have you heard of I Love Real Estate? You really need to, if you're really interested, you need to join. That's where I learned everything from. And I said the community, you can talk to everybody about it. And yep, so I'm a really big advocate. You know, my daughter says, oh, but you know, they're a bit of a cult. And I go, yeah, they are, but they're not costing you anything. They're making you money, so it's all good. So it's part of being a part of community and being able to talk to people that are like-minded when you have a passion for something is just invaluable. Yeah. It's just invaluable. You have a problem, you put it on Facebook, you get 20 million people answering it. You'll always get an answer. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. And the Platinum, you know, we really got to know each other very well. We had the super conference held at somebody's house in Kilsyth, Mitcham, and they put a big screen up and projector, and people just came in and out all weekend and we had so much food, it was ridiculous, and just chatted. And some of the time there's the screen and chairs in front of the screen and nobody's there. We're all over the other side chatting away, going talk, 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 talk. So we've missed it. We've missed it over the whole.
It looked like such a buzz to do it that way. Have a big screen, have you all there like you're doing it. Yeah, such an awesome thing. Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone brand new? If someone's brand new and they're kind of like coming in and they're going, hang on, they're doing this interview thing, maybe I should watch this. What would you say to someone if they've just joined up?
Just joined up, I would say if they've joined
Yep.
I Love Real Estate.
Yep.
Okay, so if somebody's already joined I Love Real Estate, get to know people, learn the stuff, listen to everything you can with Dymphnas. If you can go to the conferences, go to every conference you can get your hands on, because that's where I don't learn by sitting and watching as much. I had DVDs, and now you can get them on the webinars on your phone. I have it all hooked up to my phone. So if I've got a long drive, I just hit the play, pick a webinar or something, and I'll just listen to it. So the more you listen to and watch and talk to people about, the more it all sinks in. And once you've got it sinking in, and you then write your goals, work it out, what you're going to do, what you want to do, what gives you the most passion. So it's all about passion. If you think, God, that scares me, don't go and try and do something that scares you. Try and do something at the start that doesn't scare you, and you think, I would love to do that. If you really want to do something you really enjoy doing, because you'll do it well. That's all there is to it. So That's my advice.
Awesome. Christine, thank you so much.
That's okay.
It's been so much fun, and you've covered so many different things, and I still have no idea of how many deals you've done.
Oh, I don't know. It gets mixed up in the wash, and it's all fun though. It's
the one thing I do know is that you've dived in and you've just run with it, and now you've just rotated your life into such a different way. So
I wanted to try everything. You know how Dymphna says, don't do the shiny things. Don't do this. Know something and do it well. I'm like, that's not me. I did completely the opposite. I did the Airbnb, renovation, triplex, duplex, 1 into 2, 1 into 3, relocatable home. Why not? We'll throw that in there. And now I'm doing apartments. Big apartments. And commercial. So, it doesn't always have to be just, you've got to sometimes find your niche. I do like subdivisions, but I just, I like renovating, but I like subdivision renovation. So that's probably what I like to do. But I would really like, next thing is that I haven't done yet is a little shopping centre or a commercial resi. So, but building on top, it scares me a little bit because I haven't done it yet. But so I would like to do a bit of everything. And, I'd really like to get a motel one day.
So it's watch this space, hey?
Yeah. So, a bit of everything. It's always good, a bit of variation, and a bit exciting then.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Christine, thank you so much. We better leave it there because we've kind of gone over. Really appreciate it. There's been a lot of kind of positive comments coming through as well, also on Facebook as well, from Nancy, from Lisa, and Lorraine as well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And for everyone listening in as well, this one is going onto Facebook, and it will stay there, so you can always go back and review it at any point in time. But until next time, much appreciated, Christine. We'll leave it there. Have a fantastic Friday afternoon, and we'll absolutely, and we'll catch everyone later. Okay.
Bye.
See ya.